going to go in alphabetical order, starting with Representative Debra Bazemore.
Thank you, Fayette Democratic Women. I am State Representative Debra Bazemore, District 63, which was District 69, which was District 63. And I am a mother, I'm a grandmother, and I am a leader. I lead with integrity. I have been leading, I have been serving you since 2016. I have been working on issues that I heard earlier here, and I plan to continue to work and to serve you. I am sitting on the caucus, our Democratic caucus. I am in leadership. I am a Henry Toll Fellowship, and also I have an honorary doctorate degree. I just work, but I want you to know that I am a retiree. That means my time is dedicated to my constituents and to the Georgia General Assembly to get the job done that needs to be done, that I've been doing since 2016. And I thank you so much and ask for your support.
Thank you, Representative Bazemore. Next, Mr. Daigre.
My name is Daigre. I am a teacher at Sandy Creek High School. I teach high school math, geometry. And the reason why I'm running is the event that really made me want to run. That was the deciding factor. I went to work on a Monday. I had an IEP meeting that morning, an individualized education plan meeting for the parents. And the mother came in, she sat down, she brought her son in, and she started crying because she'd done everything that she could. She did the research, she did strategies, she went to tutoring, she did everything. And so we teams of teachers, we collaborated, we talked with each other, we worked with the parent, and we came up with a plan, a wonderful plan that would help her son get back on track. And then the district lead in that meeting struck down every solution, one by one, because of legal reasons, because of law, because of policy. And so in that moment, I realized, if I'm really going to do something good for my community, if we are going to enable our public service to help them, we need to go to the higher level. So I'm asking you for your vote on May 21st for District 69. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Daigre. Mr. Ferrell.
Thank you. I'm Bobby Ferrell. I'm a 23-year resident of Fayette County. I'm a retired fire captain and also a former fire lieutenant inspector. Currently, I'm a deputy sheriff serving in another county. Also, I've been president of North Fayette Community Association for the last 4 years. I've been serving the community in that right every month and every day because problems in the community do arise. So for 4 years, that's what I've been doing. I'm running today because I feel that public service is a badge of honor. And I've been a leader since the age of 21. And I plan to serve District 69 the same way that I've been serving and protecting communities for almost 3 decades. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Ferrell. Mr. Mills.
How y'all doing today? Good morning. Actually, it's good afternoon. I am Ray Mills. I'm running for Georgia State Representative of District 69. I was born and raised in Atlanta, so I'm a native here. I was adopted by my grandparents at the age of 4 years old. I am now their caretakers. Again, I went to school at Banneker High School, which is in the city of South Fulton. I currently own Mills Academy. I've graduated over 4,000 kids from this district in the past 7 years. If you look at my track record, again, I only have a minute, but you can look at my track record and it shows I've always been in this community for the past 17 years. Whether it's doing events, whether it's giving back to the underprivileged, whether it's helping our seniors also. Again, I'm Ray Mills. Thank you for your time, and I look forward to getting you all vote.
Thank you all. I'm going to start the questions. Just as a quick reminder, you have 2.5 minutes. Representative Bazemore. First question. What gun safety legislation do you think you could get passed? What strategies would you leverage to do this?
Thank you so much for the question. So, gun safety. The Democrats have put forth many bills. They go nowhere. Those bills are stuck in committee. You want to know why? Because you have a majority Republican party, and they do not have the appetite for it. I introduced the bill several years ago, about 4 years ago, and they still won't let it move. It just sits there. So what we have done with several of the issues that they don't have an appetite for is we have decided, since you won't allow our bills to be heard in committee, we're going to create our own committee. And we are going to introduce the community and the media and the specialists to everyone and to our bills. Invite you down so that you can hear exactly what we are fighting for and what we have on the table that they won't allow to be heard. They won't allow to be moved. There's a whole process. And if the process is not moving, if the bills are not moving through the process, they don't get heard at all. So the first step is for us to be, that bill to be sent to a committee. You go to the committee chair and ask for it to be heard, and they look at you and they say, no, we're not doing that. So we have to come up with ways to let you all know that we are in the fight. We are still in the fight. Just because we have opposition does not mean we sit down and take no for an answer. What they did try to do this time, and I think I talked about this one time when I came, is that they told us that we can no longer have a room to have these hearings in. We are state legislators, and we can't use one of the rooms to publicize what the bills that we are fighting for our constituents for. So I think we put enough pressure on them that they kind of changed their mind. And we're going to keep doing it. And with your help, we will be able to take over the House and take over the Senate, and we will be able to represent you because they're tying our hands, and we need you all to be safe and secure.
That's right. Thank you, Representative Bazemore. Mr. Daigre. This is a two-part question. Fayette Democratic women spent 2023 focused on addressing the crisis in reproductive justice and maternal mortality nationwide and in Georgia. What are your stances on these issues? And if elected, what legislation would you sponsor to address them?
So I'll start with the first issue, reproductive rights. As a teacher, I see what happens when young people, when young women are not able to exercise their reproductive rights as they're able to. I see it in the parents as well as the students and the teachers and the administrators. It affects everyone. And so my stance is that when it comes to a person's body, when it comes to a person's relationship between them and their doctor, the state should have no say. What you do with your body is between you, your doctor, and God, or whatever religious entity you believe in. That's my stance on reproductive rights, and I will be absolutely supporting every Democratic woman in the state legislature who is leading that fight. Now, on the issue of maternal mortality, see, that one's very close to me because my mother lost her mother at the age of 16 in childbirth. And my two baby cousins, one at 19 and one at 20, they both gave birth. One was struggling with a domestic violence situation. Both of her legs had been broken before her birth. And for the other cousin, she was struggling in poverty and struggling with malnutrition. And so thankfully, my cousin who had given birth, her child came out healthy, but they're still concerned because there's so much they don't know about the health of the baby. The other cousin, her child is deaf because her mother was malnutrition. And so maternal mortality is just such an important issue because we don't realize just how many of us it affects. We don't realize just how much of a crisis this is until you sit down and really ask yourself this question. Has this happened to me and my family? And so the first thing I would do is fight to expand Medicaid because a lot of these women are not able to have safe birth because they cannot afford the prenatal care and the postnatal care. The second thing I would do would put together a program to pilot a patient hotline so that if a mother is having issues with a doctor or a nurse or a technician, they can call that hotline and make sure that it's reported. And the third policy I would put together is a education program for patients, a patient experience education program, so that when they go to the doctor, they know what questions they're supposed to be asked. They know what services they're supposed to receive, and they know exactly if something has gone wrong, and they can report that to the hotline. So those are my stances, and those are my solutions.
Thank you, Mr. Daigre, and thank you for personalizing that issue for all of us. Very important. Mr. Ferrell, question for you. Explain why you feel the process of restoring voting rights to convicted felons is adequate or inadequate.
Thank you for that question. Voting rights, to restore voting rights for inmates can be in some jurisdictions inadequate because it could expand out to a lot of various different things, such as jurisdictions requiring that they serve the sentence out, and so like I said, those can be. That's where it could be inadequate. Where it could be adequate is that you supply these inmates that are unconvicted or convicted with absentee ballots, where they can vote during elections. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Ferrell. Just as a quick reminder, please hold the microphone close to your mouth. I have to remind that myself. Mr. Mills, this question is for you. 40 states have accepted Medicaid expansion. Georgia has not. If elected, how will you help move Medicaid expansion forward?
Yes, so with that being said, again, my grandparents raised me, so Medicaid and Medicare is very, very close to me. I feel like in the state of Georgia, we do lack bipartisan in that area. If I'm elected, I'm definitely going to reach across the aisle to the Republican Party, to the Independent Party, to figure out what can we come up together, what can we come up with together, because we have $16 billion in surplus in the state. There's no reason why we can't expand that to help the underprivileged, the underfunded households in this state. It's more than enough money and finances to go around so we can expand it. There's no reason why we don't have that. So if I'm elected, I'm definitely going to, that's at the top of my list actually, I'm definitely going to work hard to make sure everybody in the state can have affordable health care, proper health care, expand a network that you can go to, not just 5 to 10% of good doctors and good hospitals based upon your income. No, it is enough money in the state of Georgia that we all can have equal health care, period. And to end, ultimately, we only have one body. We can get more cars, we can get more houses, we can get another job, but we only have one body. And with that being said, we have to take care of this body. And just because you didn't have a college degree, just because you was raised in a different atmosphere, doesn't mean that you shouldn't be able to have proper health care, especially in a state that has $16 billion in surplus, just sitting there. It's like going to your grandmama's house and that one couch that just, you can't sit on, but it look good, right? That's what's going on here. We got $16 billion that look good, but we can't sit on it. We gotta stop that. And when I'm elected, with you all's help, that is at the top of my list. Because again, my grandparents adopted me at 4 years old. I am their caretaker today. I'm in the hospital with them 3 to 4 days out of the week. So I see what's going on in the healthcare system. I see the co-pays. I pay them on behalf of my grandparents. But what happens to the individuals that don't have a successful grandson? What happened to those people? Exactly. They left in the cold. They left outside. I'm blessed to be able to help my grandparents, but it's not about me. It's about the individuals that have died that because they couldn't afford adequate health care. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Mills. Round 2 of questions.
This question is for Representative Bazemore. If elected, if elected, what is your plan to help fight voter suppression in your district?
Thank you for that question. I sit on the Governmental Affairs Committee. Every single time I sit down for one of our meetings, they are changing how we are going to vote. They are changing the laws and the rules. Every single time I'm sitting there fighting to make sure we keep our election practices intact. They keep touting there was no problem with the election. It's secure, everything went well. Why then are we changing every time? We continue to introduce legislation. I heard some of the comments here about Medicaid expansion and different things. It sounds good, but when you're at the Capitol, and let me say this, let me back up because I build relationships. I have a lot of individuals on the other side of the aisle that I have a good relationship with. That means nothing when it comes to voting. They vote right down party line, understanding that it is detrimental to the constituents, that it will hurt. But when they get their orders, this is how they are going to vote. They are now trying to give you a little piece here, a little piece there. With the election, we have every single time in that committee, there are certain people from the community that come and egg them on and encourage them to make sure you change this. They are trying to get rid of the Secretary of State, an elected official, constitutional elected official. They are changing boards. They are changing everything they can so that they can appoint their people and we can lose this election. And that's why it's imperative for you all to get out. Make sure you're registered. Make sure you know now with the redistricting where you have to go to vote. Make sure you come out because everything that they can do, they are doing now. And it hurts my heart. I want to see you all at those committee meetings. I want to see you all signing up to make comments because it helps us. Thank you.
Thank you, Representative Bazemore. Mr. Day, this is a statement followed by a question. Fayette Democratic Women is concerned with unconvicted inmates being held because of their inability to post bail. These inmates are eligible and have the right to vote. What would you do to empower this population?
That's an excellent question. The first part of my answer to that is fairly simple. If you are sound of mind, you have the right to vote. End of the discussion. I'm a very firm believer in that. People have bled shed sweat and tears for the right to vote. People in other countries launch violent revolutions that kill hundreds, thousands, millions of people just for the right to vote. For me, it is not a concern on what they have done as to whether or not they have the right to vote. For me, the right to vote is absolute. Now, according to the state of Georgia, if they are not incarcerated, they haven't been convicted, they technically have the right to vote by requesting an absentee ballot from the office administration. I'm skeptical that that's actually happening. So the legislation that I would propose is to propose legislation that will put penalties and real consequences when correction facilities do not ensure that their inmates have the right to vote. We have to hold our corrections facilities accountable, especially when we're looking at the people who are in that facility. There are young African American, Latino, and Muslim men in that facility. Those are the ones that make up the majority of the people in that facility. And they do not want them to vote. They have no interest in them voting. So that would be my primary solution. The second solution is to build community support. As representatives, we are one person. There are only 180 House representatives. 180 people cannot do all of this work. And when we look at people who match our views, only about half of those people are going to agree with you. So you're looking at roughly 90, give or take 10, who are really going to be helping you and looking out for you and making sure these laws get passed, making sure that everybody has the right to vote. So, when I propose that legislation, I'm also going to be engaging in my community, having town halls throughout the state of Georgia to raise support and raise pressure on all politicians to make sure this happens, because the right to vote is absolute and fundamental to our democracy, to security, to education, to healthcare. Being able to vote is the key to a stable and safe society that we all want to live in.
Thank you, Mr. Daigre. Mr. Ferrell, this is a longer statement followed by a question. According to a May 2019 report by the Georgia Budget and Policy Institute, women own 40% of all firms in Georgia. However, only 5% of women-owned firms reported earning over $250,000 in revenue versus 15% of men-owned firms. Additionally, in Georgia, white women-owned firms reported an average of $198,000 in annual revenues versus black women-owned firms earning an average of just $22,000 in annual revenues. What legislation would you propose or support to promote equity in funding for black women-owned small businesses?
Thank you for that. Thank you for that question. I would simply work with local business chambers to help put on summits. I would also hold town hall meetings and include local business partners to help get the word out about the grant programs that are available to black-owned women businesses, and to, like I said, also have other businesses to support women, provide probably free opportunity for them to just do better. That is a great difference in numbers. So I would support that. I probably wouldn't make legislation, but I would get out and encourage the community to support our black-owned women businesses. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Ferrell. Mr. Mills, this is a two-part question. Do you think marijuana should be legalized in Georgia? Why or why not?
Well, lucky me. But I do want to address something on a serious note from the individual who said it sounds good. So when you come for me, I am a fighter, just to let you all know. I'm here to fight for you all, But today, I'm gonna fight the individual who's currently in the seat who said it sounded good. That's the problem. I'm not a politician, okay? I'm not here to make it sound good. I actually get shit done. You understand what I'm saying? And I understand we're in the church. I do apologize. I was raised in the church, but I'm passionate about this. I'm sick of politicians coming up here. I'm sick of politicians coming up here saying things that make it sound good, but the track record shows something completely different. At the end of the day, how many of you all have had town hall meetings with your Georgia State representative in the past 6 to 8 years? I'll wait. Exactly. We only see them. We only see them. I'm going to say them when it's election time, and that stops right now when you elect me. Now back to the question at hand. Marijuana is I definitely think is good for medical use, but I think we definitely have to figure out a way to monetize it, because the state of Georgia can add over $2.5 billion more in revenue if we figure out a way to monetize it. 92% of individuals are already doing it, okay? Some of you in here doing it, but that's none of my business. But nonetheless, 92% of individuals in the state of Georgia is using it either for medical use or personal use. The state of Georgia need to come on board with the other states and make a law, figure out a way to tax it. Simple as that. So once I'm elected again, that $2.5 billion can go to education. That $2.5 billion can go to Medicaid and Medicare, nonetheless. So again, my stance on it is, it ain't going nowhere. Let's figure out a way to make it work for us on the legal system and the financial barriers. Thank you again. I also understand I'm not a politician. I'm not going to be politically correct all the time. I'm not up here trying to blow smoke up your butt to get your votes. I'm not. I'm literally here because I care about the community. I'm literally here because I have a school with underprivileged kids in it. And that's my time.
Thank you, Mr. Mills.
Sorry about the language, I'm so sorry. I'm working on it though.
We do have some additional time due to an absence, so we do want to give the candidates an opportunity, no more than 1 minute, to respond to a previous question that was posed, or essentially a previous question that was posed. Thank you.
Or if you want, we can have 2 more questions. So, candidate's choice, Representative Bazemore.
So thank you. I appreciate the time that you're giving. And I'm sorry, before I started, I should have informed the audience that I have a conflict. But guess what? I'm here and I'm going to run to the next thing because I knew it was important to be here. So I have a 2 o'clock also, serving the people in my district. And I've been serving them since 2016. And there are so many people in here that have organizations that have seen me from 2016 to now. I show up when you call me. One thing that we do that people see, because people don't see everything, they think you're not present and you're not doing anything. I am always contacted by the mayor, the council, and the commissioner, and they call on the rest of the local legislators or the state legislators. When there is an issue here in Fayetteville, we know about it. You might not see me, but we know about it. We get a text thread, we have a conversation, and we come together on one accord.
Thank you.
And we come out for the fight.
Representative Bazemore. Everyone, please remember to be respectful. This is an important process. Mr. Daigre, would you like to respond to a previous question or draw a new one?
I'm
finish under that?
1 minute, okay. So I'll respond to a previous question. On the issue of marijuana legalization, I would say that I am pro-legalization, but I have seen some cases where that can go haywire, or it can go against what we intended to do. We all know that marijuana is the leading reason why young Black and Latino men get arrested and put in jail and given a record. Well, when they legalized marijuana in Colorado, they legalized it, not decriminalized it. The number of arrests for Black males under the age of 18 increased 50% when they legalized it. Because when you legalize it, that means there is an illegal and a legal use. If it's illegal for someone under the age of 18 to use it, then they get arrested. And so I would first propose decriminalizing marijuana so we can get these punitive laws off the book first. And then we can work on the process of legalizing it. Now, to bring up the amount of money that marijuana tax can do, in Michigan, they raised 15% tax raise, $500 million. We can put that towards the first state mental health program, because we don't have one.
Thank you, Mr. Day. Mr. Ferrell, would you prefer a new question or answer a previous one?
I'll answer the previous one, just so you have 1 minute. We spoke on marijuana usage. Should we legalize it in Georgia? Currently, it is legal for medicinal purposes. Personally, I don't think it should be legalized at all because it alters mental capability and physical capability that they may hinder or harm someone else. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Ferrell. Mr. Mills, would you prefer a new question or answer a previous one?
A previous one of mine or anybody's?
Anybody's.
I'm gonna get a previous one. Actually about the public school funding. I start on yellow, okay, great. Again, I own the Mills Academy, I'm a founder of it. I've graduated over 4,000 kids from this district. So public funding is certainly close to my heart also with Medicaid and Medicare, because again, I see these kids in this community, in certain parts of this community, that can't afford parents can't afford 3 meals a day. The only meals they get is when they come to my school. So I definitely think that with that $16 billion surplus, it should be more money allotted to the schools in order to feed them more, in order to give them better textbooks, in order to pay our teachers more. We can't keep asking our teachers to deal with these kids for $35,000 to $40,000 a year and expect them to have a great outcome. It just doesn't work like that. Dealing with kids is very, very difficult, as you all know. So imagine having 25 to 30 of them in your classroom. So on behalf of speaking about the public school funding, I definitely, okay, that's my time. Thank you all again. Remember me, Ray Mills. Gotta hold it close to your mouth.
Thank you, Mr. Mills.
We have reached the portion of the program where you will each be doing closing statements. Because there is additional time, each candidate will have 3 minutes for their closing statements if needed. Representative Bazemore, you may begin.
Again, thank you for the opportunity, Fayette Democratic Women. And I would ask that you go into the other room and look at this flyer and see the accomplishments that your state representative has made down at the Georgia General Assembly since 2016 until now. And so I'm just going to jot down a few things dealing with mental health on the Mental Health Caucus, Medicaid expansion, human trafficking, literacy, housing, I heard that earlier, equal pay, and a study committee on election integrity and auto insurance. Those are some of the bills that I either authored or I'm the co-author of. And so I stand before you not as a politician, because I am a public servant, and that's what I do, I serve. I am not looking for applause. I am not talking about things that the state representatives don't deal with, county and city issues. You have to understand the difference between, and I have been there, so I do understand what has to be done, how it has to get done, and I continue to stay in the fight for each one of you. And I have a relationship with my colleagues, and I see one of my colleagues sitting in the audience, Representative Debra Jackson, and Senator C, who's leaving us, and I appreciate both of them. And we built a relationship so that when we are down there at the Capitol, we can fight for you, and we can understand what is on the table, that we have to go to war. Just recently, on the day of signing die, there was an egregious bill that went over to the other side. They put language on there that would jeopardize 90 parcels of land going out of one city into another city. And they just did it undercover. We found out about it, and being the vice chair of the Fulton County delegation and the vice chair of the city of South Fulton delegation, I went to war for 2 weeks. And guess what? We didn't have the numbers. They weren't trying to stop. They weren't trying to take the language off. But guess what? When I went to war, negotiated with the lieutenant governor, the president pro tem over in the Senate, my Speaker of the House, and everybody else that was involved, we defeated the bill. And those are the things that you have to know how to do and how to maneuver. Not to just get up and say things that sound good. You have to get the work done. And I have proven that I can get the work done and continually. And as I said, I'm retired. I have time to commit to almost 60,000 of my constituents. Thank you for your support.
Thank you, Representative Bazemore. To Mr. Day, closing statement.
So, some of you know this, some of you don't, but I went to college when I was 15 years old. Now, what does that experience look like? That looks like and sounds like constant condescension. It looks like being discriminated against based on your race. It looks like being discriminated against based on your gender because you have fellow students and teachers who fear you. It looks like being discriminated against based on your sexuality, going into a student union and being called a faggot on the way out. See, nobody asked me how old I was when my middle school assistant principal tried to expel me because a white female student accused me of touching her hair. Nobody asks you how old you are when you have to interact with these systems that discriminate and tear down and demean. And so I believe that when it's time, it's time. I have been a teacher for the last 3 years. I've seen students go through the alternative school program, get incarcerated, and come back out. I've seen students who did not ever come back alive. There's a lot of reasons why I run. And so I want to share a few of those reasons why I run. I'm running for the mothers who show up at the parent-teacher conference and cry because they've done everything that they can to help their child and they don't know what else to do. I'm running for the fathers who call during a code red in the schools and they're asking, is everything okay? Is everything all right? I hope that this is a drill. I'm running for my friend who is an immigrant who works in construction because the last bill they just passed made it legal for them to racially profile immigrants. And he has to avoid the state patrol when he's going to work and coming back home. And he told me he feels like it's only a matter of time before he gets arrested. See, I'm running for my neighbor who has had to empty her bank account and sell her house and move into the apartment next to mine because she has to pay for prescriptions and surgeries and go to specialists. See, I'm running for my community. I'm running because I see the suffering. I'm running because I see the pain. And I'm running because I'm dedicated to learning whatever I need to learn, going wherever I need to go. Because processes you can learn. But dedication, commitment, integrity, full honesty and transparency, those are some things that are invested in you by your community. And that is what the city of Fayetteville, that's what Fayette County, that's what this district has done. It is invested in me, and now I'm going to invest in this community and in this district. That's my mission. That's my vision. That's why we vote.
Thank you, Mr. Day. Mr. Ferrell, you have 3 minutes for your closing statement.
First of all, I want to thank Fayette Democratic Women for this forum. And I want to thank all of you for coming out to basically get educated on the candidates that are running. Again, I'm a 23-year resident of Fayette County. I'm a retired fire captain and former fire lieutenant inspector. Currently, I'm a deputy sheriff in another county. Also, for the last 4 years, I've been serving as the president of the North Fayette Community Association Incorporated. Back in 2021, I was chosen to serve in a community leader position on the Fayette County Steering Committee. Again, for me, public service is a badge of honor, and I've been a leader since the age of 21. But make no mistakes, public service is the backbone of society. And I will serve District 69 every day the same way I've been serving and protecting communities for almost 3 decades. A little something about this race: 12% of District 69 sits in Fulton County. 88% sits in Fayette County. I implore you to continue to look at the candidates and make your choice. But I'm here to personally ask you for your vote to be your next state representative of District 69.
Thank you, Mr. Ferrell. Mr. Mills, you have 3 minutes for your closing statement.
Thank you, young ladies, for inviting me, and also thank you for not kicking me out when I misspoke. Again, I'm not here to be politically correct or to blow smoke up anything you have. My grandparents adopted me at 4 years old. I started my first company cutting grass at 11 because they couldn't afford to buy me school clothes. From there, I was able to get my GED. I don't even have a high school diploma, to be honest with you all, because I had to work to help put food on the table in my grandparents' house. I was able to go to college. I was able to actually get an associate degree from Kennesaw State University. From there, I've been in the community ever since. I was one of the original Black Lives Matter movement founders. This is public record. From there was birthed a company called Run for Justice. From there, I ran, if you all didn't know, 3 weeks in the middle of the winter to raise money for Mike Brown. I'm sure everybody knows who that is. From Martin Luther King Center downtown to Ferguson, Missouri. It took me 3 weeks. I was able to raise over $500,000 to donate to Mike Brown family and the Trayvon Martin family. Again, I'm not here to sound politically correct. My track record shows I get things done. I don't take time off. You understand what I'm saying? I'm running because, again, I'm a kid that was saved by his grandparents. And every day I see individuals that look like me on the news, that look like me in the community that the older generation have given up on. I'm just blessed that my grandparents didn't give up on me. I'm paying it forward. Again, I do apologize for my statements earlier, if I came off kind of aggressive, but I'm passionate about my community because a lot of times my community has given up on people that look like me. My campaign has over 60 young black men, that's 2 right there, that I hire. Those water boys that you see on the news, guess who hired them for their campaign? And I pay them $25 an hour. Again, I put my money where my mouth is. I don't just sit here and talk. I'm not just blowing fluff. I know I don't have experience in the Capitol, but I promise you, if you see me there, my track record shows I'm a fighter. I get things done, and I'm gonna make sure we look good doing it. Please understand that. May 21st, April 29th, early voting starts. It's time to change, hand off the baton. If we want to go in the future, we got to stop looking in the past. One of the biggest problems is we get stuck in our comfort zone and we're afraid of change. I'm asking you all not to be afraid. I know I'm different. But give me the chance to be your next Georgia State representative.
Thank you,
Thank
Mr.
you.
Mills.